Okay, folks. It's kind of awkward angle. Trying to balance this phone yet again on my driving, on my my car's driving wheel. But anyways, I haven't recorded really anything, as of recently. I think I'm just gonna hold it with my right hand and hope for the best. But anyways, so I think my last recording was basically after the relapse, which kind of brought an end to sort of like a little over a year long period of Nofap. Obviously, there's a sort of the asterisk or the exception, which was two what I termed major slip ups. But with the exception of that, it was essentially a little over a year of Nofap, and even the slip ups or the major ones didn't really like derail me enough to have caused that until much later on. And I think I probably discussed this in that video, but part of the reason for that was for the final relapse is honestly just like I guess sort of like plateauing and getting bored, and there wasn't a whole lot of anxiety, I think, in my days at that point in time. But I mean, okay, so I had to go back and actually correct myself on that now that now that I'm really like thinking about it. There was some, but it wasn't enough to really cause a relapse. And I handled the issues underlying that. I had to do some stuff at work, and basically I had to be a bit more assertive and communicate some things to my supervisor, and I did. And I moved past and moved on from those issues. But I think honestly it was boredom and plateauing, and just sort of like almost like feeling like I wasn't getting as much out of it as I previously gotten. It's almost like I had to sort of reset, and then you sit there after relapsing, and going, okay, so if I do another year of Nofap, make that the norm, basically. Make that the next sort of like baseline. What I want to do in a year, Now saying that like relapsing or resetting is a good thing, but it almost felt like I gotten as much out of this, this sort of side of this goal as I could, and wanted to sort of set that as my PR, and then start over from there and try and get back up to another year, and then that becomes the norm. Then okay, a year and a half, 2 years, that sort of deal, and really start to, I guess, normalize that psychological healing that I've gotten from getting on Nofap and being forced to confront all these past traumas and issues and whatever things that have got me in a rut, that sort of a deal. But really been struggling to get back onto the whole path. And honestly, like I kind of expected this. You go through basically a year, a little over a year, of not consuming any pornographic content, at most skirting the edge, sometimes kind of like leaning over into, so to speak, having those major slip ups, but not really like fully experiencing that sort of ultimate rush of pleasure and dopamine and all that you can get from PMO. And if you go back and actually experience it, unfortunately, like it's just like it's like any sort of relapse to any sort of whatever thing that you're getting your hits or your kicks from or whatever. You'll have a very hard time in all likelihood of bouncing back from it, just because it's like, wow, like this is what I left behind for a year. This is what I stepped away from. This is what I removed from my life for a year. The no effort, easy access to that kind of pleasure and dopamine and the feelings of at least temporary pleasure and relaxation that you get, that whole rush there. Because honestly, like if it wasn't for PMO, it wasn't for a lot of things. It's kind of like if you really wanted to get that sensation, get that feeling, it's kind of like you'd have to go put yourself out there, physically get yourself in front of women and essentially like strive for or attempt to attain their approval to to have sex with them and vice versa. And that would give you that sort of release. That would give you that sort of rush. And one of the really like seductive things with PMO is that it's no effort. Like, oh, you want to see a naked girl? Well, you can just go on some porn site. You don't have to go and figure out where the girls are all meeting up at. Get yourself dressed up. Shower. Get yourself dressed up. Groom yourself. Make sure you got the right cologne on. All that kind of stuff. Learn basic social skills or social intelligence. What to say, what not to say, how to open up things with some girl, how to chat her up. How to. I guess you could say essentially how to seduce someone. You don't have to do that. You just go on some site, you punch in your search term, and bam, you got what you're looking for. That sort of a deal. And that's that. Whereas, like in real life, if you don't have that, I mean, you got to go through it. And the likelihood is that just because of human nature, it's like, oh, you want to get some action. Well, you're gonna have to chat up, 100 girls. You're gonna have to take, let's say 80% rejection, and of the two that say yes, one of them will flake out, and you have to like do that again and again and again just to like get that quote unquote hit, but get that on the regular. And that's a lot of effort. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of it could even be a lot of money depending upon where you're going. You're having to pay fees to go to some club, or you're having to whatever the case may be, or like pay for dates, or pay for this, or pay, whatever. It's like money, time, effort you have to go through. And PMO is like, hey, you don't got to do that. Just go to this website, go to this URL, punch in whatever search term you want, and you got what you want. Not really, but a simulation as close to reality as you can without actually getting the real thing. And if you stay away from that for a long time, and for whatever reason you get in contact with it, or you choose to sort of out of curiosity because you've forgotten what it was like, go back, it's like it can be quite overwhelming. And if you go away for a significant amount of time and you get back to it, it's like, I guess you shouldn't be surprised if it is hard to sort of get yourself back on the path, so to speak, because of how much of a rush it is. But all that being said, while I am struggling to get back on that, obviously my intention is to. And I think I almost need to sort of have a self-talk, if you will, like kind of almost like conversate with myself about, what's going on, what's up, how am I going to get back on this whole path? How am I going to get back on that whole process? What goals do I have? What do I want? Where do I want to be in, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year? That sort of thing. And not just like in terms of Nofap. Oh yeah, I want to be on like day 365. And it's like, yeah, okay, but beyond that, what do you want? Where do you want to be financially, educationally, career-wise, spiritually, psychologically, in terms of your physical health, your physique, all that kind of stuff? Like, where do you want to be in that sense, And then plotting out a path, but even more important than that, executing on it. Because, that's kind of what I'm struggling with right now. I'm struggling with not only getting the motivation to get back on that path, but what exactly do I want to do that's going to be so life-changing in a year that I'll be looking back going, hey, I'm glad I, took those steps. Anywho, other than that, I think maybe I'll make a video to talk about the whole, debt situation, because, just as I kind of fell off the Nofap wagon, I kind of fell off the whole getting out of debt wagon to a certain extent. Though I will say I have made some progress, and obviously there's some, big announcements concerning student loans that have come down the pipeline, and I'll maybe give my take on that. But anyways, that's it for right now. See you folks around. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.